It's the last Sunday in November. Have you decked the halls with boughs of holly? Well, if you have not, it's not too late or too soon. Hello there and welcome to Jamaica Magazine. So glad you could join us. Stick around as we have an informative lineup just for you. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. The Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries and Mining is on a campaign to drive awareness about eating Jamaican. The mission is to support our local farmers and fisherfolk. In studio with us today is the Minister himself, the Honourable Floyd Green. Watch now and get the facts.
Welcome to Get the Facts, the program that provides you with information on government's policies and initiatives. I'm Theodore Henry. The Jamaica Agricultural Society, JAS, in collaboration with the Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries and Mining, marked Eat Jamaican Day on November 25. Now, it's under the larger theme of grow what you eat what you grow, but under the specific theme of grow smart, eat smart, let's eat Jamaican. That's for November 25. This year's event honored 19 years of efforts to reposition the agriculture sector by building a sustainable food security program. This month, and every month after, Jamaicans are asked to support our local farmers and fisherfolk. Minister of Agriculture, Fisheries and Mining, Floyd Green, is here to tell us more about the interventions to encourage eating Jamaican. Minister Green, welcome.
Yeah, man, happy to be here. Thank you.
All right, let's jump right into getting the facts. Why is it vital for Jamaicans to invest in the products of local farmers and fishermen?
You know, I think now more than ever, especially since COVID-19, people recognize the importance of our farmers and fishers. In COVID-19, one of the fundamental questions was, will we be able to feed ourselves?
All right.
You know, people never thought that the world could close its borders, and that's literally what happened, that automatically everybody started to think about their own food security. Now, the only way we'll be able to effectively feed ourselves is if we encourage consistently and constantly our farmers and fishers. And that's what Eat Jamaican is about. It's about going out and making the right decisions to support your own, encouraging your farmers and fishers by ensuring that there's demand. When they go out there and they farm and provide that supply, we need an outlet. And we as consumers must make decisions that prioritize our farmers and fishers.
Yeah, I want to pick out on two words you mentioned, consistently and the consumers. Because, you know, the tomato raiser, there's no tomato like the farmer, them not going with none, and we want to, I don't know, go to some other products, but consistently.
No, so, you know, I think we all appreciate that farming can be a challenging enterprise. You know, especially with the realities of climate change, you know, we have longer droughts. This year we saw our worst drought on record. And then we move from drought into intense rainfall, floods. So, you know, consistently our farmers have to be out there day and night trying to provide for us all. And while you can do without any other thing, you can't do without food. So the reality is, even when we have these shortages and we see prices go up or we see something missing, the best thing to do is to stick to that Jamaican matrix. And outside of supporting our farmers and fishers, quite frankly, it's just better for us. You know, when we consume imported food, we don't know the process it's been through. We don't know what they've used largely to preserve that. It's not as fresh, and fresh is always best. So, you know, we've been pushing for a long time that you should say yes to fresh, and the best way to do that is to eat Jamaican, not just in November, but all around the year.
I like that, say yes to fresh. So it's been 19 years.
Yeah, this year makes the 20th year. And I want to commend the Jamaica Agricultural Society, who had the foresight to embark on a specific initiative of not just celebrating a day, which is how it started out, but now expanding it to a month of celebration. Because I think ultimately, if every day for at least this month, we think about consuming Jamaican, then we'll change our patterns and we'll make it a year-long activity. So 20 years this year, and we continue the journey.
Are there any crops that you would recommend we prioritize during this month?
Well, once you eat in Jamaica, I'm satisfied.
Yes.
Once you are asking that question, once you're ensuring that the things that you are buying are Jamaican made and Jamaican produce. But at the Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries and Mining, we do have priority crops. We have looked at our food security matrix. What do we need to feed ourselves? What is the carbohydrate? How do we do with vegetables? And, sometimes we don't give ourselves enough credit. We have developed sufficiency in relation to our vegetable lines, in relation to our fruits. We are self-sufficient in relation to poultry. We do depend significantly still on overseas feed, which is something that we have to work on.
Right.
But we are also self-sufficient in relation to pigs. Our pork sector feeds all our local demand. So we have developed sufficiency in that, but we want to see more. So we do prioritize things like Irish potato, and we are trying to meet 100% of our demand. We have prioritized onions.
Right.
Over the years, we consume a lot of onions per capita. We're now up to about 30% of our local consumption. We want to get to that 100% over the next 3 to 4 years. But one of the things that we have embarked on is what I call the new face of food.
Yes, of food.
New face of food.
Right.
Again, we have to move from just thinking about agriculture and recognizing that everything we eat is tied to agriculture. Agriculture and fisheries is what gives us our food.
Right.
And we need a new face. What does that mean? And we have 4 strategic pillars. Food security being the first one, agribusiness development being the second one, climate smart technologies, how we respond to climate change, and export expansion.
Okay.
Right, so those are our 4 pillars. So under the food security matrix, clearly we have outlined some specific crops. We're going to be targeting a lot more sweet potato, a lot more yams. We are very good at producing high quantities of sweet potato and yams, and that can be our carbohydrate matrix. We're going to be targeting our orchard crops.
Oh, come here, what's the planting, Minister?
Well, we'll come to that. But one of the beauties with Jamaica is that we can grow almost anything.
Yeah.
Based on our climatic conditions. But we have to be more strategic about what we put our money towards. So we are supporting banana, we are supporting plantain. And the Banana Board does that. But we are doing national programs now around not only sweet potato and yam, but our orchard crops, breadfruit, ackee, and mangoes.
Okay.
Right. So what you see there is that we look at food security, we also look at export expansion. Plus, we're supporting our small ruminant sector. I'm not sure if you know, we love our curry goat, but about 80% of that is imported.
Yeah.
It's not goat meat.
We import goat meat.
It's not even goat. Oftentimes it's mutton, it's sheep.
What you say?
Yeah. So we are not meeting our demand for our local goat. So we have a project now to push that. So I want to encourage everybody, get involved in our small ruminant sector. The Ministry of Finance worked with us. We took off GCT and duty if you want to bring in goats to strengthen your breeding stock. And we have an artificial insemination program now that we're looking to drive the massive expansion of our goat herds. We need to satisfy our goat demand. I'm
gonna have to take a break right here. You're telling us some fascinating things, Minister. Yes. But more on this discussion with the Minister of Agriculture, Fisheries and Mining, Floyd Green, when we return after the break. Don't go anywhere. Stay with us. Welcome back to Get the Facts. We are near the end of Eat Jamaican month and just commemorated Eat Jamaican Day on November 25 with the theme Grow Smart, Eat Smart, Let's Eat Jamaican. Minister of Agriculture, Fisheries and Mining, Floyd Green, is here to offer more information on how we can all join in eating Jamaican this and every month. Minister, aside from eating Jamaican food, what other ways can the average Jamaican help local farmers?
A number of ways. I've always found, one, we need more people to have appreciation for agriculture in general. Right. And that's why we started Eat Jamaican Month by launching our backyard gardening program, where we have already taken applications for 3,000 backyard gardening kits. We find that if more people appreciate what goes into agriculture, what goes into farming, then more people will consistently support our farmers. So we need to see more people thinking about their own food security, looking at their backyard gardens. Again, you don't need a lot of space, right? Agriculture technology has evolved now. We do vertical farming, hydroponic systems. So even if you have a small space, you can grow some of what you eat. I would think that's important. Outside of that, I've always said to people, why not encourage our children to look for professions in agriculture? Right? No matter how the world evolves, we will still need to eat. And the taste profile of the Jamaican food is among the best in the world. We haven't spoken about our spices, our ginger, our pimento. We have a program around that to drive production of turmeric ginger, pimento. Over the next 5 years, working with USAID, we're going to be spending about 14 million United States dollars. Again, we need more of our young people to go into agriculture. So when we say a new face of food, not only our pillars, but we need to change the look of agriculture, the feel of agriculture. Agriculture is not just going out with a machete in the early morning. We've evolved. It's about protected agriculture. Shade houses is about technology. It's about how do we have more agricultural technicians that can fly drones and use those drones to fertilize our crops. That is happening now in Jamaica. Are your children looking into those professions? So I think part of the reality of Eat Jamaican month is spreading that message, and that's why for Eat Jamaican Day, we're going before to case and our educational institutions and spreading the message about the future of agriculture, professions in agriculture, technology in agriculture. So that's important. I think we need more voices to spread the importance of agriculture and fisheries.
Yeah. I definitely get the sense that you're pushing long-term here. It's not about a month or even a year, long-term.
No, and we speak a lot about our crops, we speak a lot about our fruits and vegetables, but our fisheries sector is critical. We have been working with our fishers now to move from near-shore fishing and go more long line fishing, go deeper. So we are now conducting training across 5 parishes to work with our fishers to get better catch, so that we can, as a small island with a bigger ocean space than a landmass, that we can not see ourselves as a small island developing state, but as a big ocean economy where we're doing more from the sea. But outside of that, we have also seen that the future of fisheries is also aquaculture. So we now have a program where if you are interested in fish farming, if you establish a 1-acre pond, so you do the excavation, you do the liner, put in the water, we will provide you with the fingerlings, the fish free of cost.
All right.
Right? As a drive to increase that production. All of this is a part and parcel of what we're doing for Eat Jamaican, but also a bigger mission on our food security drive.
Understood. I want to zoom in the last minute or so of our interview on the month itself. Any highlights you want to share from the month?
No, so we've been having a great month. We've had a great month. We started, with going across Jamaica. We have started a community stakeholder engagement around the new face of food. So we are going parish to parish. We've been to Clarendon, we've been to St. Thomas, St. Mary, St. Portland, St. Anne, and spreading the message about the new face of food. What are our priority crops? The fact that we now have insurance coverage being offered for our farmers. We've been spreading that message. Clearly, we had a church service with the JAS and State Minister Witter represented, and that has gone well. So the month has been a mixture of direct engagement, prioritizing our crops, engaging our farmers and our fishers, and spreading the word about Eat Jamaican.
All right. So the ministry has started an island-wide stakeholder engagement push to help farmers enhance productivity. What are some of the investment opportunities that have been put in place?
So again, we do have specific initiatives. So we do have a Irish potato growing program, and farmers who are interested can contact their local RADA office, especially if you're in a traditional, strong Irish growing area. We have an onion program, and in all these programs we provide the inputs. We provide planting material, we provide fertilizer, we help you in terms of technical support.
But rather is the point of contact.
Rather is the point of contact.
Okay.
Additionally, it would be good for people to contact the Agro-Invest Corporation. We are now expanding our irrigation networks, and we will have over the next year to 2 years massive agro parks. I'm talking over 200 hectares in St. Catherine, over 100 hectares in Clarendon, so that's Parnassus, Amity Hall. So if you're interested in land and you're looking for land for agriculture, contact the Agro-Invest Corporation. We're going to be doing new agro parks in Essex Valley, that's South Manchester, South St. Elizabeth, and we already have agro parks that are specially targeted. So we have a mango agro park in Clarendon, we're doing a breadfruit one. So contact the Agro-Invest Corporation if you're looking for investment opportunities.
All right, and just to reiterate, you've mentioned the pond for the fingerlings you provided, the land, all right, so there are a lot of
and we're doing a lot more. I mean, we're focused on our climate change realities. So we're doing rainwater harvesting ponds, targeting 6 productive zones. We're buying new trucks. There's a lot happening in agriculture.
Yeah.
So I want to say to everybody, Eat Jamaican month is a call to action.
Yes.
It is a call for us to prioritize ourselves, to put Jamaica first, to ensure that no matter what happens in the world, we know we're all right because we can feed ourselves. That's important. And the only way to do that is consistently encourage and support our farmers and fishers.
This has been Get the Facts. Our guest was the Honorable Floyd Green, Minister of Agriculture, Fisheries and Mining. We want to thank you for watching. And until next time, I'm Theodore Henry. Take good care.
Are you passionate about shaping the future of governance in Jamaica? Do you want to be part of a historic move to define the roles, responsibilities, and standards of conduct for our parliamentarians? The Joint Select Committee of Parliament, considering job descriptions, codes of conduct, and performance standards for parliamentarians, is having a series of town hall meetings to get your insights on the roles, conduct, and expectations of your elected representatives. Join the virtual town hall on the Zoom platform on November 30, 2023 at 6 p.m. You will have the opportunity to share your opinions, engage with members of the committee, and make your voice heard. Visit www.japarliament.gov.jm for further details. Let's work together to build a stronger Jamaica.
In this next feature, we address a serious women's issue, miscarriages.
So a miscarriage refers to pregnancy loss, early pregnancy loss likely occurring prior to 20 weeks gestation. One of the common misconceptions is that an abortion is something induced versus a miscarriage is something which occurs spontaneously. The truth is both terms are often used interchangeably. However, miscarriage is more commonly used simply because of the negative connotation of the term abortion. So most of the terminologies now that you hear individuals use is in reference to what we call early pregnancy losses, right? And those usually encompass a whole range of disorders which ultimately result in what is commonly referred to as miscarriage.
So I've had 3 miscarriages. After the first, I wouldn't say that I knew back then that those were really signs of miscarriage. I actually, in ignorance, thought that these were just coincidental things happening to my body. It wasn't until the second miscarriage where I experienced the exact symptoms that I realized that my body had given me a warning sign from about a week or 2 before, and that was spotting. That was the first thing that would have happened to me, where throughout my pregnancy, very early on, I noticed that I was spotting, and it wasn't just a regular color period looking like red. It was bright, and then it got to the point where if it wasn't bright, it was almost kind of brown or burgundy. Fast forward to about a week or 2 after the spotting would have started, I remember I was getting ready to go to church. I remember it like it was yesterday. And then out of nowhere, I felt as if someone took a baseball bat, or in Jamaican country, we maybe know more of a cricket bat, and hit me in my lower back with it. And I remember I was bent over in pain for, it felt like maybe 20 minutes, but I really don't think it passed 2 minutes or thereabout. But that's just how immense the pain felt. And I remember I bent over, doubled over in pain. I may be pushing, actual birth was the only thing worse than that for me, without pain meds. And then a few minutes later, I got the urge to rush to the bathroom, much like what had happened 6 years prior with the first miscarriage. And I went to the bathroom, and before I could even prepare myself to sit, there came the flow.
The most consistent signs and symptoms of miscarriages are initially PV bleeding or spotting, meaning spotting from the vagina, or either heavy bleeding passing out clots, fleshy materials. Up to 80% of women who are going to experience a miscarriage is going to have some form of bleeding per vagina. Second is abdominal pain. This pain is usually often cramping, varying in intensity and localized to the lower abdomen. And those two are usually the most consistent signs and symptoms of a miscarriage.
You could see aspects of the sac and everything that was there, because it just all came out, like tissue, things that looked like tissue or whatever. And I showed it to him before we flushed. My initial reaction when I found out what was happening was to hide in embarrassment and shame in my bathroom from the one person who would want to share in this moment with me, which to me was an indication that I thought that I somehow disappointed my husband. There is a small part of your mind that says, could I have done anything differently? Did I do anything to cause this? Did I do too much walking? Did I work too hard at work? Was I too stressed? You ask yourself those questions.
There are a variety of causes. What I would say is that most first trimester miscarriages, when they do occur, they often occur without any obvious risk factors. And around 80 to 90% of the times they occur because there was some abnormality during the formation or the early processes which are involved in the formation of the fetus. There are known notable risk factors for miscarriages. Age greater than 35 being one, patients who have chronic disorders or chronic medical illnesses such as diabetes, which is uncontrolled, thyroid disease, which is uncontrolled, certain autoimmune disorder, which often causes some damage to the vessels in the body and therefore causes clots to be formed. Those clots primarily affect the vessels which form or contribute to the formation of the placenta and therefore contribute to early pregnancy losses. Very rarely, miscarriages can also be caused by abnormalities in the structure or the shape of the uterus. This abnormality in the structure of the uterus can make implantation of a fertilized egg very difficult and then contribute to miscarriages.
Of course, there is no going back, but what is done next can be significantly helpful for women who are eager to have an encounter with their childbearing wishes.
Then I would have spoken to my doctor, and then she would have advised what to do next. And by the third, I was an expert. From I started spotting in that pregnancy, I knew what was possibly going to happen.
The key at that point is either reassurance or prevention of subsequent miscarriages. Now the truth is, around 20 to 30% of first trimester pregnancies will end in a miscarriage. But 90% of those women who experience these first trimester losses go on to have subsequently normal pregnancies without any problems. The issues arise in those patients who have recurrent miscarriages. So the risk tends to increase as the number of miscarriages that you have increases. So for those women, it's a matter of one, confirming the diagnosis, which is usually done through blood investigations, but also instituting some management, and that is usually in the form of either aspirin or certain blood thinners like heparin.
So the truth is, a miscarriage can happen to just about any woman, but there are some preventative steps that you can take to reduce the likelihood.
One of the things which we advise, particularly in the first trimester, is treatment of any febrile illnesses. So these could include anything like viral illnesses, bacterial illnesses, And of course, it may sound very basic and simple, but avoidance of things like hot tubs or saunas or jacuzzis. Now, what we've seen is that these febrile illnesses, which of course are associated with elevation in the body temperature, just as going in a sauna or a jacuzzi, can potentially trigger, a miscarriage. However, for those individuals who have these underlying medical illnesses, for example, diabetes, the key is control of the blood sugars, ideally preconceptionally, so even prior to pregnancy. One, to reduce the risk of miscarriages, but also what we know is that uncontrolled diabetes in the early parts of the pregnancy can also contribute to chromosomal abnormalities or congenital structural abnormalities in the fetus, which can then precipitate a miscarriage. For those individuals with thyroid disease, we encourage that they see the endocrinologist and control their thyroid function prior to pregnancy.
If this is your story, my advice to you would be, 1, learn your body. If this isn't your first pregnancy, make sure you know how your body functions when you get pregnant. Then I'd also say that be true to your emotions. Don't let anybody dictate to you how it is that you need to mourn. If you want to mourn, mourn. And if you're one that you miscarry and tomorrow you can get up and go. Don't let anybody tell you that you have to sit and cry for 2 years or whatever it is. But be true to your emotions. Do what I didn't do. Get help. I thought that I was fully okay, and it wasn't until a few months ago, actually, which is almost 2 years after the second miscarriage, that I actually had an emotional break. Like I broke down and I just wasn't managing well. I felt like a failure as a person, as a wife, a mother, an employee. I just felt like I was a total mess, and I could not understand what the root of it, because I'm normally very well put together and in tune with my emotions, and I can fix myself. And I realized, no, I need to get help, and I went and got counseling, and it is in that session we found out that the root of it was just undealt with trauma from the loss. So as women, we face a myriad of challenges, health challenges. We face menopause, miscarriage, PCOS, endometriosis, infant loss, you name it. And sometimes it can feel so overwhelming, as if we can't win at this thing called life when we have to deal with this and do regular life. But I'm here to just challenge you and to encourage you to know that together we can win.
All motorists, pedestrians, private and public operators, motorcyclists, it is important for us to drive defensively. Driving defensively saves lives, and we know that lives are most important to each and every one of us. It is important also to be trained and certified as a defensive driver, for it increases the likelihood that you'll prevent collisions on our roadways.
And just like that, we're signing out for today, but not to worry. You can rewatch this offering or other content like this by visiting our website, jis.gov.jm. Do join us on the same station tomorrow as we bring another informative, educational, and entertaining package of Jamaica Magazine. Until then, I'm Adrian Atkinson. Thank you so much for watching.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.